I even need a pen. I probably don't. It's just nice to have. So yeah, that's what the name of the video is called. Is Elog worth it? Do we really need it? Now, I have some positives and negatives about it that I've written in my sheet. Now, they're not all from my opinion, but I thought, maybe you guys can form your own opinion of what you think about the e-log. Is paper log better? Is there more freedom in the paper log? Should we go back to it? And why companies want you to be on Elog in the first place, and who started this mess? Okay, no, just kidding. So I have some positive and negatives about it, and I'm just gonna read off some positives and negatives, and I definitely want to hear your guys' opinion about what you think about the Elog, and is it helpful for you to make the best money that you can? Are you even trying? Do you want to make the best money that you can? Everyone has everyone's out here for their own reason, whether they want to make a lot of money or whether they just want to make a little bit of money because they've been out here and they're not trying to run as hard as we are or as others. So it really is just based on opinion. He gave some really good face light, that truck that just went by. So here you go. Okay. So the first thing is, I'm definitely gonna have. So the point of the e-log is, I guess, to help create a safer work environment for drivers, and to make it easier and faster to accurately track, manage, and share records of duty status data. That's what it says. So I think the e-log is now called the ELD. Correct me if I'm wrong. The ELD synchronizes with the vehicle, so it is hooked up to this vehicle, to most trucks that are in a company. The E-log is hooked up to the truck, the vehicle engine, to automatically record driving time, and supposedly it's easier and more accurate. It's easier and more accurate of hours of service recording. And I can see how that can be. Yes, it may be more accurate than, you writing it down on the paper log sheet where you have the 4 lines of the off duty, on duty, sleep or birth driving. I'm sure that's in the wrong order, and then you go in with your, I'm gonna stop saying and then you go in with your pencil and you make a line of when you stop driving, and then you have to I guess they have to assume where that line is on. What time was that? Or they go by quarters, or halves, fulls, whatever. But I can see how that can be helpful for the company. So I guess when it comes to the company, for them the e-log is a good thing to track their company drivers, lease drivers, whatever, to make sure their logs are right, they're not in violation, or if they are, they can call you out on it and give you a call and say, hey, what is going on here? So I can see how for companies it might be easier for them to have the ELD hooked up to the truck. Not only that, it's also a way for them to record data. And I believe, I'm not sure, but I believe companies get fined if, if their drivers are out of service, or if a lot of them are, or they get markings or something. Guys, I forgot what it's called, but it's kind of like a red light, like okay, this company, they have a lot of drivers that are not in their service. I'm not sure if companies get fined for that. I think they might. And what company wants to get fined? Because they're looking at you, aren't they? They're looking at the drivers like, hey, cut it out. I can see how the e-log can be very beneficial to drivers, especially those in this day and age who are new or upcoming. Since we're all about computers anyway, you had this piece of machinery right here. All you gotta do is click buttons, and isn't that what most young people do today, is click buttons on the phone or the laptop or the iPad or whatever. They just click buttons and scroll. It's just almost very similar. You click buttons and you scroll, especially through the messages. Having the e-log can be kind of structural for the driver. So if you're a solo driver, it can be kind of structural because you can set a time of when you want to drive. So let's say you shut down for the night, and you want to wake up and you want to leave at 6 a.m. Well, every day you can make it a habit to wake up at 6 a.m. and shut down by 4. So for those who do like structure and like to have a schedule, that can be very beneficial to those who really like that. I've asked Christine what she thought of about the e-log, and to her, she does not like it. Now, Christine is an older young lady. She's older, and she's been in the business. I believe she said she started in 1990 when I was born, and so she's been in it for a while, off and on, but certainly way longer than me. And so she can tell you stories of how it's so different from back then till now, and how things were, to her, in her eyes, more laid back. And for her, it was more exciting and more fun than what it is now, where everything is on a schedule and you have to do this by this amount of time, have to deliver by this amount of time, to get there in this amount of time. For her, it's too much of a rush. She recalls the days that she would meet other truck drivers. They would go have lunch, they hang around, and then they'll go back to work, but nothing was of a rush, and that's her story to tell. I don't want to tell it all for her. For her, she does not like the e-log. She's not really handy and not really computer savvy with computers. Her and touching buttons and touch screen and all that great stuff, that is not her forte. She prefers the paper logs. She'll write down something. She can write down and draw lines and whatnot and tell where she is at the beginning and the end of her day. When she stops, she can mark her little mark, whatever. She can do that. I don't think she even likes that, but she can do that. But to touch the computer and have to remember to put yourself off duty, put yourself in sleep birth, especially when she's close to the time, like, oh, I forgot to put myself off duty, it's just not her thing. She doesn't like the computer. And I know there are several people that don't like the e-log, ELD, whatever. They don't like it at all. It's just too much of I guess it's like telling you what to do, telling you when to wake up. To her opinion, everyone has a different sleep schedule, and she believes that the e-log is telling her when to wake up, when to drive, when to sleep, and she doesn't like that. She likes to just be laid back, and, she'll get it there when it's time to get it there, but to rush to get it there, I guess it was different back then. The e-log came about, I'm not sure exactly how it came about. I know the FMCSA, and I'm missing a letter, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, I guess. I'm probably wrong. The book's right there. Now she's gonna make me get the book out. Okay, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations. So the FMCSR. So the FMCSR, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations, came about with, hey, I guess we need to put people on an electronic device, and so we can track what they're doing and how they're doing it and where they are and everything, because there are drivers out here who don't know how to drive and they're falling asleep on the road, So I guess in Christine's eyes, just because some drivers don't know when to stop driving and other drivers know when to stop driving, now because of a few people that don't know how to drive, everyone is affected. and everyone has to go by the schedule according to the law. I guess that's her opinion, and I can see how she can think that. And coming from doing things one way where it wasn't so strict to now having all these rules and regulations, I can see how it can be a conflict to one's mind. Like, what? I don't need this. I was doing fine before, you know? So I understand where she's coming from with that. That was Christine. She wants me to come in. I said after the video. So I guess with the Elog, some of the negative things, and a lot of it does come from the older drivers, and that's okay because they know what was before, you know, and they know what it is now. And I guess that's why a lot of them quit, you know. They thought, well, how are you guys going to tell me how to drive? I quit. And I understand too. If I was back then, I'd understand too. Don't blame all the drivers for just a few of the drivers' problems. How can higher ups tell drivers how to drive when some of them have never driven in the truck? I've heard this argument before. You know, if you don't have the experience of being in a truck, you know, so you want us to get here at this sort of time, that's great, but also certain things can get in the way. The unpredictable weather, of course, people's sleep time. Maybe they're sleepy when they should be driving. Traffic, accidents that you see all the time. And other factors and whatnot. So I guess a lot of companies may not care. They just want you to get there. They say safely, but they still want you to get there because they want to make their coins too. We get it. I get it. But safety is a goal. Safety is the key. It should be primary. I know that there are some dispatchers that like to push drivers to really get there, and it's like, I'm not dying in the snow and this ice that I can't see. No. I guess those are some examples. About the higher ups telling drivers, I know I can't think of them now. I know Christine has more examples, but how the higher ups and telling drivers to do certain things, but it may seem impossible to do. Like, can you get here by this time? No, I don't have enough time for that. Oh, figure it out. What do you mean figure it out? I understand you want me to get there, but figure it out? Yeah, I'm going to figure it out by taking my time, by doing this safely. If any dispatch wants you to do things illegally or that that is not safe, something within you is just saying, no, I'm not doing this. I know what this will cause. I know what will happen if I did. And the people in the office who've never driven a truck, some of them, may not understand. But they want you to do certain things that you're just like, no. If something's in your heart telling you not to do it, you guys don't do it. If common sense is standing out and no one else sees it, please stand with common sense. It's not their license that's on the line. It's your license. It's your CDL. You took your time and money and your energy to get a CDL. Why do things illegal to get it taken away? They're not going to care when it's getting taken away. Stop trying to regulate the money drivers can handle, can make. Yeah, that's what Christine wrote. And yeah, I guess back in the day, she can drive for as long as she can and get there still on time, or get there, in a reasonable time. She can make, I don't know, 3,000 miles by herself in a timely manner. But now, you have dispatchers finding loads for you that are loads that are too small. Okay, you can do 1,200 miles like this. What's 1,200 miles is 6 + 6. You can do it in a day and not even a half, a little less than a half. But we're out here to make money, right? Not all of us, I understand, but some of us. A lot of us are in here to make money, especially if you have a partner that want to make money too. We're all in here to make money. Okay, we want to make a decent amount of money. the right amount, the correct amount that we should be getting paid, because CDL is expensive, driving is expensive, lives are on the line. I don't have a 9 to 5. I work 24 hours a day. Even when I'm sleeping, I'm working. That's how I think of it anyway. You know you can run more miles and you're not getting the miles that you know you can run. Yeah, I'd feel some type of way too. Don't give me only 600 miles a week. What do I look like? Our goal is to get like at least 3,000 miles one way, you know. They know what you can make. If you've been with several different companies and they pay you different for the same job, you know what you can make, you know. Reefer, if you're doing reefer, you should be getting paid more than people who do dry van. It makes sense, I get it, and maybe some people disagree. But if you have to deal with a refrigerator, make sure the temperature is good, because if the temperature is not correct, your items might spoil, you know, and that's money. Lost property is money to the company, and of course they don't want that. You got to keep a close eye on the reefer. Make sure it's at the right temperature. Make sure the temperature's not rising. Personally, I experienced learning about how you can make more money after I left my first company, which was with Stevens Transport. They can go. But yeah, they let me go. Let's not even go there. I didn't want to go there. They let me go because they thought I was doing a U-turn, and that wasn't the case at all. Anyway, so I've been through several companies after that, and here I am at this one. But you live and learn, and when I was with the smaller companies, I learned that, you know, they do pay a little bit more. They may not give you benefits, but they do pay a little bit more. And talking to other people, you know, depending on the company, you get paid more or less. And when people are content with, you know, a certain amount that's not to my standard, I just like, how? You do know you can make more, right? Oh, it's okay. Well, maybe they don't want to make more. And that's fine. That's up to them, actually. That's up to them. This one, Elog hurts businesses as well as drivers with schedules and loading and unloading times. Okay. I think what she means is when it comes time for unloading and loading times, we can stay. Now, dealing with reefer and even dry van, that can take a while to get unloaded. You know, let's say you arrive at 4 and you don't get out to 10 p.m. 4 p.m. For God knows what reason. You know, sometimes some people say that, oh, that happens all the time, depending, you know, on that company, you know, and that's hurting your time. If it takes 5 hours to get unloaded, nobody wants to sit there because not only does it hurt your time, because the moment you start your clock for the day, your 14 goes down no matter what. Whether you're off duty, let's say you even put yourself in sleeper, it doesn't matter. Your 14-hour clock goes down. And your 14-hour is your on-duty time. So once you start your clock, you have 14 hours driving, fueling, whatever, to do what you have to do for the day. Whether you're getting loaded, you're going to a couple of stops, whatever you need to do, you have 14 hours to do what you got to do. After your 14-hour clock is down to the wire, you got to stop and shut down for the night, and that is for at least 10 hours. And let's say you really wanted to, hey, let's roll. But a lot of these unloading and loading times can take 3 hours, 4 hours. You have at least 3 hours of off-duty time before it catches up with your 14 on-duty time, which catches up with your driving time, which gives you less time to drive, less time to get where you were trying to get to, and you may be late for your load, or you may not be late, or you may be cutting it close, or some people don't like to rush, some people do like to rush because they know they want that thrill of, you know, the clock being against the time. As drivers, the loading and unloading times, it can be unpredictable. You know, maybe you're the only one there, or maybe there's not enough workers, and that's not your fault. and then you ask for detention pay because you sat too long, and they'll give you detention pay. Sometimes it's not good enough, all that other great stuff. So yeah, I can see what she means by how that can be a negative. The positives: it's good for the companies. They can track where you are, how many hours you have left, how much time do you have. They can give an approximate of, can you get there, can you not, setting up for the next load. Do you have enough hours or not? So for them, it's very structural, and it's more accurate timing than just a piece of paper log. I understand that. It can be good for also the drivers, because for those who do like structure, waking up at a certain time, ending your day at a certain time for a solo driver, it can be kind of like a habitual, and a lot of people do like habits. They like things to be habitual. It's good. They have their time, like, oh yeah, that's good for me. I'll shut down at 4, and, I'll get my 10 hours in, and, but I'll leave, 2 hours later after, yeah, that's good for me. Yeah, definitely. And it can be good for the companies, the shipping and receiving, I guess. Yeah, it can be good for them. They have a time of where to come, who to expect, at what time, what place, Not that they use the ELD or anything, but they get that from the companies, It can be safer for the roads to some people. Telling you when to shut down to get your 10 hours of sleep. It kind of makes you sleep. You may not sleep right away, but it's with this time, it's giving you a set time to make you go to sleep, to make you do this, and that might be great for some people. So it's a set time for sleep time, set time for drive time. Companies know they don't have to ask you where you are. They can figure out your next schedule, see if you can make the next load. They can base it off of that. Give you a set time to sleep so you're not tired, or you have to make yourself go to sleep. And really good for those who are computer savvy. You got a little machine right here so you can punch buttons, and off duty, on duty. They know when you're on drive and things like that. Some negatives, as Christina has put it: they want to track your money to see how much, to give you the set amount of miles so you don't make a lot, or maybe you do because you know the right people. Having this Elog might trigger some older folks. I don't like that word. Might get some older folks upset because if some people are having accidents for the lack of sleep, that's not your problem, it's theirs, and they feel like everyone is to blame because of a few people not knowing when to shut down. So that's another negative. One person's problem is now everyone's problem, which gives us all these rules and regulations. That's another negative. E-logs, schedules, unloading and loading times. You don't know how long it's going to take to unload and load, and the moment you start your time, that's it. That's all you have, no matter what happens in the day. And I may not be able to do that 500 miles that I wanted to do originally. So that's another thing. And higher ups who don't understand what drivers are going through, they really want the load to get there, and they kind of pressure you to get it there, but it's like, hey, you don't understand. I'm out on the road. We got this and this and this and this happening. This truck is not on my side. My engine, my tires keep blowing out. Something, I keep having truck problems. You guys don't understand. You don't care. If you have any more positives or any more negatives about the Elog, ELD, any more positives about, paper log that you guys see positive and negative for both paper log and Elog, definitely write down in the comments below. Hey guys, I'm gonna stop talking right now. Thanks for watching.